Here's your cap.
Okay, so we are back with episodes 7 and 8, right?
Oh, sure.
7 and 8 of Curse of Strahd, a Dungeons & Dragons adventure using Zweihänder, Grim and Perilous RPG. I'm your game master, Daniel Fox, and as usual, we are joined by the gang, the crew, the cult, the playtesters, the people who help make Zweihänder and Main Gosh for real. Round of applause, yay!
Yes.
So, when we last played, what happened?
I remember there being an old woman that tried to steal a child.
Yeah, there was.
We just couldn't seem to kill her.
So there was...
It was a pretty sweet deal, though, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Prior to that, though, you had come to the village of Barovia, if you recall. What happened there?
No, that was all the same episode.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we do 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got
We
to
met-
Barovia.
We
and
met
then we were able
Lord
to, we went to the inn, although
Yeah.
we heard someone like crying in the background.
Yeah,
Vladimir. Lord Vladimir, is that right? Lord
Lord Marcus?
Marcus.
That's right. So
Yeah.
you came into Barovia, you heard the woman wailing.
Should have checked that out,
Instead, you went to the
but we didn't. So we went to the inn,
blood of
and
the vine.
there were 2 people there.
Whoa, remember, we didn't check it out because
We were hurt.
I was hurt.
somebody was really hurt.
I was
hurt.
I'm pretty sure I was grievously wounded.
That's
I
right.
was infected.
I was lightly wounded.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Well, next time you get to fight the suit of armor.
Oh, I forgot to
No.
tell you, it's totally errata. It's slightly wounded, not wounded. That's not true. But
Okay.
No, it's actually new level we're heading in.
it's a
Well
new
done.
level.
It's
Slightly.
it's slightly lightly. And
Slightly
then-
lightly.
yeah.
Mildly, mostly dead.
Mostly dead? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
So then we
went-
spoke to Lord Marcus, right?
Right.
For an extended amount of time, and he basically gave us the more of a Barovian overview.
That's right. So, do you guys remember some of the throes of that story?
The high points are we can't leave, which we already knew.
Yeah, we did know that. We also now know that Tatyana, is that her name? Yeah,
Yeah.
Tatyana is this guy's sister.
Oh, and don't be out at night.
Don't be out at night.
Even though you don't know when night's going to be because the days are never the same.
Don't trust those people. Man, I am really forgetting stuff.
Those Vistani.
The
It's Vistani, yeah.
Because if you can move at night, it's because you're favored by
The devil.
Strahd.
Yeah.
Strahd.
Drod.
Strahd.
Dread. I was thinking Dread, and I'm like, that's not right.
Famous Mike is
The devil Drod. What's up, guys? I'm Drod.
What's up, Drod?
What's
Drod.
up, Drod?
Strahd's extreme brother.
He's from California.
He's from Flavortown.
He's Yeah, so she was Queen Tatyana was the Devil Strahd's bride and the sister of Lord Marcus. That's right.
Yeah, and we just openly talked about murdering her in front of him. You know?
Yeah, well, you have my personality traits, and you try not to talk about killing people in front of their families.
Yeah, that's true. It is probably a lot easier not being a funerary mage and being able to keep those things quiet.
Yeah,
That's right.
there's no filter. Anyway, and then Tatyana actually was found in the woods, right? Like he's her brother, but he's not like biologically her brother.
Right.
That's right.
And she was originally called Ariana, I think.
Yep.
So
We'll go with that.
and he was one of the 3 people that stood up against Strahd. The only one to live, I think.
Yeah.
There were 4 people who
4
who attempted to kill Strahd. One's name was Sir Godfrey. Another was Lord Vladimir.
That's where Lord Vladimir
Huh?
comes from.
There was a man named von Richten. and Lord Marcus.
But he does not like to be called Lord Marcus.
Yeah, it
Because
seems
he's
to be
like,
more
what am I lord of?
Yeah.
It seems like a title he does not prefer, but it must be coming from his sister.
Yep, and he's very used to talking to outsiders, as everyone else seems to be, and I mean, hey, it's open bar because of all the outsiders that come in and leave their drinks behind, so that was kind of cool. Silver lining to the endless fog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just drink the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So what else was going on like during this time?
Well, apparently, some parents were making a deal with an older woman who.
The bone grinders.
Yeah.
Bone grinders.
And
The Sisters of the Grind. What were they called? The Bone Sister. Sister Bone.
I don't know. There's 3 of them.
Bone Snuggin' Harmony
Yeah.
Girls. I mean.
And she came to collect the next morning.
Yeah.
And how she was collecting was by luring the child out with sweet roll.
Some sort of sweet.
Yeah. And
Sweetbreads.
sweet bread. Yeah.
Margantha's magical pastries. One shot.
And so we were able to put a stop to it. And Benedict said, "Hey, what's how come you're taking this kid?" And she's like, "I've got a contract to take his life." And Benedict was like, "Okay, I'll give you a new contract." Because she said the parents got to keep their lives for giving up their child, and
But the parents weren't dead.
yeah, Benedict said, "I'll give you the same contract. You can keep your life. You give us a child." And so she gave us a child.
Parlayed for the child, and she ran off.
And then cursed us.
Yes.
She cursed you. That's right. She
said,
put a terrible curse upon you.
Yeah.
Lord Marcus, of course, interrupted this with a shillelagh in hand and told you a little bit more about who they were, well, in brief at least. He said that these women, he told it the story you just spoke, the women trade children to these parents.
We learned a little bit about how deals are not taken lightly. They're always fulfilled in this place.
The devil is in the details, and every deal that is struck is overseen by the devil's Strahd.
Yeah.
Deals that are broken are
Deals.
met with
Oh,
righteous
yeah.
fury.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, the devil's Strahd, although he is banished, his occult
Also
is still
5
there.
cars to that.
Yeah.
And his power apparently does as well, because remember, it was only 3 months ago that the devil's Strahd was banished. Well, thought to be killed, but clearly banished, for the mists returned, so did the Vistani, according to Lord Marcus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there were a lot of people that tried to basically leave, and then were never heard from again.
That's right.
Yeah, and so thanks to our group's moral compass.
I suggested that we try to contact the
Oh,
dead.
that's you.
Yeah.
It was me for once.
No, not our medium.
You're not using
Oh.
that. It's neither me or you. So.
No, you were the moral compass. You were like, no, we're going to go and kill them all. Not necessarily the best moral compass, but still a moral compass. So yeah, we're on our way to.
So Benedict, roll initiative. Some of your result.
I love it when a leader has conviction.
18.
Okay.
He's the leader.
Tim, Sir Alfie.
Oh, it's on the corner, but I'm going to leave it to 1. 9.
9. Okay. Nigel.
Nigel rolled an 11.
Okay.
Reese the wolf feather.
If it was a 10, I would have re-rolled it.
Krista.
14.
Okay. And finally,
18.
Mortimer. 18.
That's pretty
Benedict
good.
and Mortimer, what's your position bonus?
5.
7.
Okay. So it's going to go Mortimer, Benedict, it's going to go Krista, Nigel, and Sir Alfie. That will be our initiative for tonight's session.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we begin the story.
Do we have music and sounds again? Wow.
We do, in fact.
Nice.
We have a Bluetooth set up, in fact, right here.
You can almost say he raised the bar on the sound quality.
Like.
There's a
all
sound
night.
bar up there. Right. And we're
No.
using Synthscape. Ooh.
I'd call it dad jokes, but you know,
That's right.
it's still. You know.
Maybe one day. We'll see.
So yeah, we will be, from now on, for all of our sessions, we will be using Synthscape for our audio and visual atmosphere. Yeah.
Love some ambiance.
The village of Barovia is quiet, save for the howling of wolves in the forest. This gray mist lingers beyond the buildings, most Barovia silent, like a cemetery. Its gray, still stone buildings resembling tombstones. No light flickers from their windows, save from that of the blood of the vine. Despite the fact that this village seems to ramble across this kind of low forested countryside, it is conspicuously absent of people. If you recall, when you passed into the village, there were only 47 souls marked upon its the Welcome to Barovia sign. Today you save the life of a child. The child returns to the fold of whoever was watching him in the small brick stone building. Lord Marcus agrees. I will take you to the bone grinder. Your intention is to bring an end to these women.
Why wouldn't it be anybody? I don't understand how this isn't your intentions. They're stealing your children. You only have 46 souls left in your village. Can't afford to lose a soul.
You look to this man, and he appears to be older. Older in the sense that he's placing maybe in his 40s, but his hair is gray, as is his beard. He's a naturally gray, in fact. He has these deep, long bags beneath his eyes. He's not well built. He appears to be just tired and withdrawn, as if perhaps his encounter with the Devil Strahd touched him deeply. He lowers his head and he nods. I do agree with you, Sir Alfie.
Well, I'm glad we are all in agreement. I'm assuming that the rest of us are. Is that correct?
You won't get any argument from me.
I don't know what else there is to do.
The mist plays tricks where the sun would be. Perhaps it is to the east right now, perhaps it is to the west. It is easy to lose sight of that here in Barovia.
It's just recently dawn.
Yes, but I think I remember someone saying, I think it was you, saying that,
You can't trust how the length of the day.
right, the time that the sun is illuminating the fog is difficult to predict because it changes.
So, Lord Marcus, would you set off today or would you wait?
Please, just Marcus.
As
He asks, almost pleading.
as you wish. It's hard for me to. It is what you wish. Formalities are something of our land, though.
He nods.
If I do it, it is not intentional.
Take you over which you would seek to go on foot.
Can we make it there before the end of the day?
He looks to the sky almost ignorantly. He looks down the long road where the strands of mist are kind of creeping in slowly between the buildings. Now is as good of time as any. He issues.
Any final preparations we must make? How are your wounds?
They're only serious.
You have a remarkable way of putting things.
I'll die when I die.
Again, you have a remarkable way of putting things.
So do we need to stay, Alfie?
Sorry,
that's me.
Morty.
Morty.
I mean, it couldn't hurt.
The rest you need, he issues. Remaining 2-3 days would be good for your health. It is hard to predict what will happen in the next 72 hours now that this woman has made her way back to the bone grinder. They will be anticipating us unless we can beat her there.
I agree. Normally I would even argue that we have the time to change bandages, but maybe not in this case.
It's alright. You'll find that I have quite a grim resolve.
I'll have to trust you on that. As, Benedict is really puzzled by that. So, shall we then?
His constitution seems to get better as the more injuries he takes. It's an oddity for this man.
I feel it brings me closer to my,
His death.
Yeah.
Yes, taking wounds generally does bring you closer to your death.
Yes, but, his predicted death.
Fair enough, I shall believe you on it. I am no expert on the custodian. I merely see what happens when they go to her. So, speaking of time, we should be off.
I can show you the roads, Lord Marcus says, but my eyesight is poor.
I can substitute for eyesight. Now, you need to see something, just point and I'll tell you what's there.
He nods.
Who
will tend to the camp, he says, if we need to rest.
I have this wonderful map, too. I don't know if this will help.
The map will help, yes. We'll use the supplies to the camp.
Rebel. Let's go to Rebel.
Speak up, do not be coy. If we are to go, we must decide.
I suppose I can step in for that role.
We will need eyes above, along the road. This map he takes as he's holding it in the hand. Who will take this? Who will scout ahead?
I thought that's what you would refer to.
No, ahead of us on the road. He says, issuing.
I think I will be the. He'll be the guide.
He'll be the scout. I mean, I think when we came here, we were the ones that helped navigate the way.
Yeah, so I believe I am better suited for scouting.
Okay. So.
Marcus looks confused.
Sorry. Alfie and I will plot the course.
Who will attend to the camp?
I'll tend to the camp.
Dr. Krista.
Dr. Wolf.
Thank you.
Who will scout ahead?
I shall.
Right. I have everything that I need, he says, dropping the stick to the ground, and he kind of pulls his knife belt forward. It was nothing more than the clothes of a townsman.
Well, then let's set off. Let's kill some witches.
After you leave Barovia, you're passing amid a swamp buzzing with gnats. Water shifts and moves as bullfrogs amid the waters kind of move within and out of the pools. There is a silence as you cross the wooden bridge that took you into Barovia. as you begin trafficking your way west. West back from which you came. Along the way, you see a small grouping of gray stones along a low stone hill. The cemetery near the gallows, no more than a mile or so outside of Barovia. It's quiet. The gallows, you can see there are 9 separate ropes set up on the stand, the wooden stands there. Nobody is nearby. You suspect those that were buried within the graves here, but the gravestones are mostly unmarked, just kind of small stones fitted into the earth. You can imagine that the executioner and the executioner's sons or daughters or whoever would have served the executioner would have buried the dead here. You can't imagine what sort of justice would be served, even in the absence of the Devil Strahd. You cannot imagine a Barovia that had any sense of law. But the place seems barren and quiet. Unnervingly so, in fact.
So these gallows yours for the town.
He stops and ponders this for a moment. He says, the Devil Strahd had servants at one time. Black Knights, I believe they are called. He narrows his eyes. They were marked with a standard of a rook from a chess piece.
It's not like any Black Knights I know of. Ours has a Southern Cross.
They saw to the laws of this land. They rode these. They rode east-west along these roads.
Huh.
Good riddance, I say. I never cared much for lawmen.
Those who would stand against the Devil Strahd would be hung by the neck. Those who would defy his edicts, an uneasy peace. A satin glove over an iron gauntlet. But
Do these creatures disappear with Strahd?
No. In fact, he indicates, they turned against him when they had learned his true nature. Most fell before Strahd and his cultists. Those that remain, he says, are far from here. Let me see the map, he says. You take the map, or he takes the map, and he kind of seems to, he almost kind of searches as if he's looking for something or some distant old memory. Here, he says. This old castle, he points. He'll indicate it on the map in just a moment once I'm able to find it myself. Here's where they retired to. Lord Godfrey, he says. That was his name. A Black Knight, but a knight no less.
Hey, Black Knights from the Black Knights of London use that same crest, right?
They do.
And I'm a Black Knight.
That's right. You're a Southern Cross Knight.
Oh, that you changed me. Yeah, we'll talk about that after game.
Well, let's clarify real quick. So, what is your professional trait?
Knight's Order.
Okay. What are the two skills you get to reroll?
Melee and Ride.
Okay, so yeah, you're a Black Knight.
Yeah, you changed it because
Of Lane.
Yeah.
or just Black Knights.
Of
I
Lane.
find it funny that you didn't catch what I said.
What would you say? Oh, I heard what you said. I just let it slide.
Here, he says,
I already know you're a...
it is west of the Bone
Indescribable.
Grinder, but it is high in the hills. It's a place called Vosthold.
Vosthold.
This is where Sir Godfrey retired to after the banishment of Strahd. The Black Knights do not ride these roads no more. As for the fate of Sir Godfrey and his host, I cannot say.
Unfortunately, we won't be going there today. Or at least hopefully.
Unless it's closer than that bone grinder place.
No,
Just to
it's
the
not.
west of the Bone Grinder,
Ah.
he says. You continue moving. All of you need to make a routine resolve to withstand mental peril.
Alright.
There is a sense of loneliness and kind of dread that kind of lingers as you move past the cemetery. Anybody fail?
No.
I failed.
Critical success.
Okay, good. Fail? Ooh. Along the way,
Uno failure.
the stories that Marcus has shared with you about this strange place, I mean, there seems to be no hope to be found at all. In fact, Nigel, you will suffer from 13 mental peril. You begin to feel the weight that you will perhaps never see home again, that these lands are literally, there is no safe hold, and you cannot help but continue to look toward the direction to seek the sun out where it may be. Alright, I need Sir Alfie you need to roll a navigation test. And do you have a skill rank in navigation? Go ahead and add an assist die. And this test is routine.
Routine. Oh, okay. Alright. Navigation. So with routine, I have a 62% chance. And I got an 05.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay.
This is the way.
It is clear that that the road is demarcated so on the map to show where you need to go. And you're kind of watching as Benedict passes in and out of sight ahead of you along the road where he is scouting ahead, keeping low and trying to stick to the trees and stay just out of sight. In the meanwhile, you are kind of attending to supplies, Dr. Wolf. You are seeing to the needs of the camp, the needs of the party, that which you hoping that you don't have to strike camp for the night. I'd like for you to go ahead and make a survival test. This is routine.
Alright. 50% chance success.
Okay. Well, the good thing is that you have calculated correctly for enough foodstuffs along the road for at least a day. Should it fall tonight, you have worse things to fear than hunger. The water skins are freshened. Everybody's equipment has been pulled together. Everything you need for the road, for means of hiding in violence, are all at the ready. Dr. Wolf has seen to that. Finally, we get to our scout, Benedict. You are some number of yards up the road. Every once in a while you'll pass within sight of the others, and other times you will kind of disappear behind a bend. In fact, you are the first to cross through the Vistani camp along that swampy road where you can see the gray house that you had came through no more than 24 hours ago.
Curses.
Go ahead and make a make a routine stealth test.
Okay. Routine stealth will be 64. And a 30 will succeed.
Okay. Watching for danger and other things that may be strange, you continue trafficking ahead.
I'm gonna look at Marcus and see. He was heavily drinking last night. Is he continuing to do that this morning?
Brazenly, yes. He will pull out a flask every once so often, from his coat, and he will take a long pull, whatever spirit is within the canteen, and place it back in there, adjusting his cravat.
I see. Okay.
No less, you continue along the way. The road seems to twist and wind, and you can see not so far ahead, that the fog kind of spilling forth from the forest seems to swallow up most of the road ahead of you, Benedict. However, your eyes are immediately drawn toward over these kind of thick, impenetrable wood. There are these high stone buttresses looming very tall and gray in the fog. These huge iron gates seem to hang betwixt the stonework, where this road kind of spurs back north and to the east. This dew seems to cling with almost a cold tenacity to the iron bar, the rusted bars. And flanking either side of the gate, tall as a man, 3 times the tall, the height of a man, are these headless statues that seem to be fashioned into the stonework. These appear to be this appears to be some sort of massive gates that would lead beyond an even thicker, impenetrable forest, where the rock, where the forest seems to meet the mountains. And beyond that, kind of twisting beyond the fog, you see this iron crown of towers way beyond out there, 2 miles at best. The best visibility you've had in the entirety of Barovia so far, kind of crowning the top of the mountain, a similar view of what you saw over Barovia. Without a doubt, that is the stronghold of Ravenloft. That is Castle Ravenloft, as it was called earlier.
Sweet.
Oh.
Marcus kind of seems to give almost a cold shiver despite the heat of the day. You stop almost in awe of the grandeur of these great stone gates. You can see through the bars. The road continues past that, but the road also continues west. You'd go this way, Marcus says.
Follow your lead.
So is this like just a gate that straddles the path? Can you go around it, or like what?
You would have to navigate through these thick woods and low mountains.
I see.
To circumnavigate it. Certainly possible, not for anyone bound on horse.
Ah, I see.
It would probably take it's very, imagine the Ozarks, the way that the footing is there. Like you literally be climbing along the sides of bluffs and trees in the woods with uncertain footing.
I see.
It appears treacherous regardless. But for somebody who would be a mountaineer, sure, you could try.
Right in your wheelhouse is what he's saying.
Yeah.
We continue on your path onward.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I need our guy to roll a 6 die. Roll a d6 chaos die. That's you, Alfie.
He rolled a 2.
Okay.
Just one?
Just one. Yep.
He rolled a 2. I didn't know if this was a highly dangerous place, so...
The old road seems to transition here from being a winding path through the forest and mountains into a very lazy trail that hugs the side of a mountain as it descends into a fog-filled valley. In the heart of the valley, toward the north, you can see this walled town near the shores of a great mountain lake, still and cool and cold and gray, and the fog seems to be warded away from the water. It appears like some great gray mirror settled upon the mountainside. A branch in the road leads to a promontory not far from here, atop which is perched a dilapidated stone windmill, its warped wooden vane stripped bare of cloth. It does not move. A great, huge window. Its arms kind of slowly meander one direction, but there are no canvas veins on it. And it seems to almost be juxtapositioned against this great walled town north of here alongside the lake.
So, I guess this is the place.
The Vistani can be found all about on this road, Marcus says. They camp not far from here, outside of Valaki. He points to the town. That's Valaki, he says.
Oh.
So we need to stay there tonight.
Thought you were going to strike today.
No.
Oh, you mean afterwards?
Yes.
Should we be successful in our endeavors, we may attempt to seek solace there.
There is no need to fear success.
Failure in Barovia does not mean death. There are far worse things here than death, my friend.
Servitude?
All men must serve.
Those are noble words, but I don't think that they do proper justice to what happens here in Barovia, but those who stand against the Devil Strahd and his minions.
Well, there's a difference between servitude and slavery. And speaking of servitude, that's something that is often done with justice, is it not?
I hope.
The sun seems to be getting real low. The light that was there in the sky is slowly becoming absent. You can even see the twinkling of stars beyond the fog that lingers in the canopy above.
We should get to this place. What is the plan?
Well, above all, I know that we are not supposed to be out after dark, so we should seek shelter. And if this is the only place that is around, we should go. I don't see any other alternative.
So we take it by force, is what you're saying? Or do we burn them within? Is there children within? Do we know anything? I'm looking at Lord Marcus. Would they have other children in there?
He nods slowly.
This could solve two of our situations. I say we free the children, and then we burn the place.
Where will we hold up for the night?
We can burn the place in the morning. Ideal and absolutes. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Children are being enslaved by these witch hag creature things.
Well, let's speak with another absolutist, Mortimer. Thoughts on that?
Killing them all and let the gods sort them out? Is that what we're going for?
My usual plan.
Right. Kill them all and let the gods sort them out.
Yes.
So if that's Alfie's take, sure. That works.
So more nuanced approaches. I look to the two of you.
We're in a place where death hangs in the air like a thick coat about you. I'm not really certain that the rules of subtlety and diplomacy apply here.
Huh.
I could be wrong.
Well put. And that's for you?
Some would say death is better than living here. We could just burn it down now and be done with it.
We've come to save children. Setting fire to the place will do no good.
Perhaps you're right.
We will kill everyone inside.
My dear friend, I know why you said what you said, because you believe that death would be better than servitude here. But, while noble and morbid at the same time, I believe we should at least try to save them.
You have no doubt that I'm trying to save the children. It's the sole reason I can.
Very well. I'm in agreement.
Then let's do.
Are we going to go and bang upon the door?
What's the point? I just pull my sword and start walking that way.
Sir Alfie will lead the charge. There is still light to be seen in the sky, but the forest seems to grow closer and closer as you begin walking up the hill toward that stony promontory where this single curious windmill lingers. Your eyes turn back toward Valaki, this great walled town, village, you're unsure. Surely if there was any there who were of the right minds and of martial muscle, they would have set this place aflame already. You begin your approach. You come closer to the windmill, and it seems to be kind of onion-domed. And it seems almost going to be leaning almost off the hill, kind of cattywampus, slightly, as if it's threatening to teeter off the edge, this great old windmill. As it perhaps is trying to turn away from the stormy gray sky that is now lingering over that once placid lake. You can see flashes of lightning kind of playing along its surface. As your eyes turn toward the sky, without a doubt, a storm will be here soon.
Metaphorical and otherwise.
The windmill is made of gray bricks with dirt-covered windows all along the upper floors. You can see a decrepit wooden platform encircling the windmill, which seems to twist upward towards a flimsy doorway that would lead into the interior. Perched upon one of the beams, before you ascend up the stairs, is this raven that hops and squawks at you, seemingly agitated. Rah, rah, rah! And then another.
This is not looking good.
Perhaps I have a memory.
So where's the door?
You'd have to ascend the stairs to reach it.
But I know what your next move is.
What's that?
Ascending those stairs.
That would be my plan. Double time. If the ravens are coming, we've seen the ravens before. We know what this.
Alfie, follow your heart.
Ravens flock amid the trees, along these tall pine trees, gathered all around, squawking in a cacophony, almost laughing, perhaps. You come to the flimsy wooden door. It opens with ease. The sound of the ravens dies out. The ground floor of this windmill has been converted into a makeshift kitchen, but the room is filthy. Baskets and old dinnerware are piled all along the corners of it. Adding to the clutter is the same peddler's cart you had seen earlier from the woman who had tried to abscond away with the child. You've seen an empty chicken coop, a heavy wooden trunk, and a pretty wooden cabinet with flowers painted upon its doors leaning against one of the walls. You also hear toads croaking, but you're not really sure from where they're at. Oops, not the right one. However, your sense of smell is instantly assaulted. The sweet smell of pastries blending horridly with some other smell you can't quite identify just seems to be assaulting your nostrils. This awful odor comes from an open, upright barrel in the center of the room. Warmth seems to issue from a brick oven that is kindling near one side of the wall. And beside that, a crumbling staircase ascends alongside it, upward and higher and into the windmill. Shrieks and cackles can be heard somewhere higher up as the windmill almost seems to shudder, groaning.
So there's nothing on this floor. No kids, no
It's a
nothing.
Crypt Keeper.
Not that you can see.
I can't think of an appropriate pun for the occasion.
As you kind of look about, Nigel, still somewhat nervous from the traffic from the road here. Uh-oh.
Boo!
That may be a
Like where?
server issue.
You at least warned us.
You stop for a moment as you realize the other sound is coming from these tiny human bones that litter the floor.
This does not look good. As I push a couple of the bones with my foot. They've been quite busy.
I thought they
Truly
were out.
sickening. Macabre sight.
Well, they ground them.
I didn't think that they meant they literally threw them on the ground.
Well, we need to put a stop to this as soon as possible.
Let's go ahead and pause here for a moment, guys.
Hi,
We'll
hi
turn-
listeners.
We'll return in just a moment for Curse of Strahd.
The Curse of Strahd is my fucking work.